여러분, 바로 오후 두 번째 강연 시작해 보도록 하겠습니다. 첫 번째 강연이 블록체인 보안에 관련된 것이었다면요. 두 번째 강연부터는 메타버스를 주제로 강연들이 펼쳐질 예정입니다. 먼저 메타버스를 주제로 첫 번째 강연을 해주실 분은 바로 클라우드 시큐리티 얼라이언스의 GCR 체어이신 의장님이신 켄 황님을 모셔보도록 하겠습니다. Let me now invite up Chair Ken Huang from Cloud Security Alliance, and he's going to talk to us about Metaverse Application Security. 네, 여러분 큰 박수로 켄 황 의장님을 환영해 주시기 바랍니다.
So first of all, thank you very much, Busan Municipal Government, for the invitation. This first time I came to Busan. It's a beautiful city and very nice, kind of people. So really enjoy stay here for a few days. My topic is about the blockchain or metaverse application security. Of course, really enjoy the topic given by Jason Jiang from CTK. It's actually lays the foundation for my topic and also put my topic into perspective. Maybe a little bit about myself. I'm CEO of Distribute Apps. My company is a consulting and education company. Our clients including the big banks such as World Bank and also some small companies like NFT, GameFi, DeFi, or Layer 1 blockchain project. And I'm also the chair of Cloud Security Alliance, has a blockchain security working group. So within that group, we publish a number of white papers on the blockchain security. Actually, CTK has been closely working with us also in some of the blockchain security, especially smart contract security. And the book which related to today's topic, one book is just recently published. I co-author with a professor from New York University. The book title is Blockchain and Web3, but we dedicated 2 chapters in the security and privacy. So really dive deep into it. I will talk a little bit about this in today's topic. And another book was published by the prestigious China Machine Press in 2018. This is still the first book and still the only book which has a very comprehensive treatment of all the aspects of the blockchain security. Unfortunately, it's not translated into Korea yet. So if anyone interested in to translate this into Korea, talk to me after that. We will try to translate this into Korea as well. Also from the Cloud Security Alliance, we have published lots of white papers. I'm either the reviewer or the co-author of those white papers. And of course, CTK, Jason Jiang's company, they also helped us on some of this white paper as well. So today, we do have a lot of topics to cover. Only have 30 minutes, so I try to rush to it a little bit. But if you are interested, maybe we can talk later. The majority of content is covered by the books. And I'm writing a new book as well. Just signed a book contract with Cambridge University Press. And I will co-author with a professor from Harvard and Yale University. And also on the blockchain and the security, all this aspect. I will unveil a little bit about the content of this new book in today's topic as well. So what is the metaverse? Of course, there's no particular or standard definition yet for metaverse. As everyone may know, Facebook named Meta, and their marketplace tanked for 600 or 700 billion dollars. So it seems not a good thing for metaverse now, right? But I think it's just the start. When it starts, you have the kind of pumping load, right? You have some load block. So that's the initial stage. Gartner has some very good definition of what metaverse is. It's basically have this element. In order to really understand what they're trying to talk about, is basically is ABCDEFG. You can think about that easy. AI, right? Artificial intelligence. It's really used for the natural language processing and also rendering of the immersive experience, right? That's the AI. And the blockchain, of course, is the base technology for NFT, for the decentralized identity, like a soul bond or POAP token, right? That's what the blockchain technology is, and also the distributed ledger technology. And the cloud, C means cloud, right? Cloud actually hosts a lot of the metadata, NFT metadata or video or audio files, and also lots of the blockchain company has their node or their service on the cloud. So that's the cloud infrastructure side of the metaverse, right? And then you have the data, lots of data from everywhere, from AR, VR, from the blockchain, from your social network. It's all converged, right? And then you have the ecosystem and experience, which is immersive, right? That's the E. And then you have fintech, the DeFi, right? And eventually all this, in order for it to work, you have to have a good network, which is called the 5G or 6G network. So it's basically what the idea of the Gartner. But I want to talk about the metaverse from my own vantage point. It's basically, my understanding is the metaverse is convergence of the convergence. This is actually one of the chapters in my upcoming book, which will be published by Cambridge University Press. So I will unveil a little bit about what my thinking is. So it has 6 convergences, what we see. First convergence is technology convergence. Previously in Web 2.0, we have what is called the solo local or social location-based web or mobile technology, right? And now we have the new 7-layer, what we call the 7-layer. I will touch this a little bit in my next few slides, but this is the convergence of technology. Another is really the convergence of data. You can have data from AR, VR, from IoT, from blockchain, from everywhere, from social network. So it's all this data converged. This actually has a lot of security and privacy implications. We do need some governance models that I will talk a little bit about that. And then we have the convergence of interaction, right? We can have the interaction from AR, VR. We can real-time, like I'm real-time present here. And yesterday I see CZ and Just the Sun or SBF, they presented remotely. And it looks like you can enjoy the same experience. Actually, you can even see their picture in the slide. Like if you present physically, you don't see my picture here. So maybe it's even, if I have a suggestion for the organizer, maybe you should put the speaker picture in the middle, right? So maybe have a better experience here. But that's another one, right? So it's a convergence of interaction. Another is a convergence of business model. We have the DeFi, NFT, and creator economy, traditional social network. So it's all this business model converges. And then we have the identity, the typical Web 2.0 identity, like if you're using the Kakao, right? Kakao is what I think Korea people use. I downloaded. So that is Kakao like identity. In China, you're using WeChat identity or Alibaba identity. In US, you're using Facebook identity or Google identity, right? So this is the Web 2.0 identity. Now it's converged with Web 3 identity, which is a decentralized identifier. It's basically the foundation is a Web 3 or W3C foundation, and also European standard as SIS or self-sovereign identity. So those identities converge. The company, I just visited the booth, they are the VinX. I think they do a good job in terms of converge the Web 2 with Web 3 identity. Maybe you guys can visit later. So this is another convergence is the organization convergence. You can have the traditional company converge with the new company, right? The DAO, the Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Actually, Wyoming State in United States, they actually approved DAO to be a form of organization under the auspice of the limited liability company, right? So that is all occurring or happening. And what I see the metaverse is actually the convergence of these 6 convergence. So it's a kind of meta convergence. We will talk more like very deep in this book. That's upcoming. But this 7-layer architecture of metaverse, that's on my current book, which is published by Wiley publisher, right? That is basically, we put the technology into 7 different layers. In the bottom layer, of course, is the physical layer. It's 5G, 6G, you have mesh network. And if you compare this metaverse 7-layer technology with traditional ISO TCP/IP stack, what is missing from TCP/IP stack is identity. So identity is very important. That's why we put identity at the 2nd layer. Actually, Cisco, I think most of you know, Cisco is actually working on all the decentralized identity layer. There's many, actually, at least like 100 companies working on this space, on the decentralized identity, avatar, or self-sovereign identity, right? And recently, of course, Vitalik proposed soul bond, all right? It's basically non-transferable NFT. It's a kind of represent your identity, but you cannot transfer to other people. And then the 3rd layer is decentralized storage. That's using IPFS or storage. This is needed because on the blockchain, you cannot put all the data on the blockchain. It's too expensive, too slow. So you have to put it off-chain. So one of the off-chain storage is really the decentralized storage. That's also has been in the making since many years. Then we have the intelligence layer. That's not as a smart contract layer yet. When we're talking about smart contract, that's actually in the layer 6, right? That's more like the orchestration layer. But the actual intelligence has to come in from the machine learning. That's not a smart contract, it cannot do, right? So you still need to have a decentralized intelligence layer. It can leverage the decentralized data and also decentralize the model or deep learning model to predict the new behavior. And then you provide the result through the oracle to the on-chain smart contract, right? So that's in the future. Of course, we are still in very early stage of this kind of technology stack, right? And then we have consensus layer. The result of your computation or result of transfer has to be consensus. That's the key component of the blockchain, right? So the consensus layer, you have the POW, POS, different, at least 100 different kind of consensus algorithm. And then we have a smart contract, right? That's really the orchestration, the value transfer layer. That's also very important. And especially the security of it is very important as well. Then on top of this, we can build the metaverse or Web3 digital economy. So that's the 7th layer. Okay, so much about that. We are still very early in the metaverse. Security is still the biggest thing. Maybe you know, this year marks the worst year in the whole blockchain history in terms of the loss from the security breaches. $3 billion lost so far due to security breaches, which is surpassed last year $2 billion. We are not at the end of the year yet, so we already lost $3 billion, right? So that's why we need to focus on the security. So first the topic is really the data in the metaverse and the security implication of it. And like in here, we have some of the introduction about Microsoft, Facebook, LinkedIn. They lost millions of users' data, right? And with the metaverse, we have more data from AR, VR, from IoT, from the blockchain transactions. So this need a new data model. So in our book, we introduce different data model. The centralized data model certainly will not work anymore, right? That's the current data model. So what is our solution? One extreme solution is purely decentralized. But purely decentralized version has the scalability and the network scale issue. So there's something maybe in between, maybe DAO-based, or maybe hybrid between big IT and the DAO-based, right? So that is some deep discussion that's happening in the industry, and also we actually have some talk about in our book as well. And World Economic Forum proposed a model. I think that model can be a very good reference. It's basically emphasized on the individual control. You have your control of your data, your identity, right? And you can port your data from different metaverse platforms that you want. And then you have a basic understanding how they use your data, right? These are two very important. Then on top of that, the platform or metaverse platform have to protect you using encryption, right? They have to also have the traceability using audit logging. So that's the governance model. I think it can be a reference model for people who build the blockchain data platform. The other topic, of course, it's really the ransomware. Ransomware is basically the hackers encrypt your data, so you cannot use your data. So you basically have to pay them the Bitcoin. So then they decrypt the data, you can use it, right? So it happens like every 11 seconds. Every breach costs over 200K, right? One of maybe best known case is last year, Colonial Pipeline, right, hack. I actually have a family vacation in East Coast during that time, and I have to wait in line for many hours to get my fuel tank refilled. Yeah, that actually happens, right? So with the blockchain, actually the good news is with blockchain data is replicated in different nodes. Also, it's signed, right? So if a hacker trying to steal encrypted data, they cannot do it. So that's good. And self-sovereign identity can also help. But the key thing is the big IT, like Meta, right, or Facebook, they will not really relinquish their control of data to every decentralized. So we still have the ransom issues, right, in the metaverse. And, but with blockchain technology, we can elevate some of the issues there. Yeah, I gloss over a lot because we only have like 10 more minutes. right? So supply chain attack is basically if you use software using a third-party open source software, and if that third-party open source or even commercial software get attacked, you also get attacked, right? So the one big example is the SolarWinds supply chain attack. It has a very big implication, even like a Microsoft, Department of State, NASA get hacked, right? So with Metaverse, actually, we're talking about Metaverse actually using lots of supply chain software as well. Some example is like OpenSea is the supply chain for the MetaMask. So if OpenSea database outage, it impacts the MetaMask, right? And also the AWS is a supply chain provider or service provider for many of the applications in the blockchain. If that get attacked, then everyone get attacked, right? Especially the blockchain company. And this one is like the MakerDAO. I think maybe some of you may know. It's because of a supply chain. It's an Ethereum-based chain, and the Oracle get attacked. So this one is a wormhole, right? Wormhole is a bridge. Jason also talked about bridge attack. It's a low-hanging fruit for the hackers, right? So this one is because of Solana to Ethereum bridge using a third-party verification mechanism for the signature. And that verification mechanism is not good. So it's get hacked. It's $320 million get lost. So AI, yeah, we don't have time, but AI is more dangerous than nukes. That's what Elon Musk talk about, right? So we do need some of the framework to help it. One is the Deloitte AI framework. It's basically focused on the safety and the security and open source, open AI and fairness. And you can also explain what the AI or machine learning algorithm, right? And then the cloud is really important because the majority of Web3 applications still running on the cloud. If cloud as a supply chain is not good, then it has a problem, right? So that's why we need to enforce zero trust. Zero trust is also, Biden administration is also very keen on this one, right? And especially the key management is really important. We actually work with also 30K in terms of the blockchain, smart contract auditing, and private key management. They review our code and the NoSec as well. And you also need continuous monitoring and alerting as well. So these are 5 top things that as a project you can do, right, to help. Yeah, sorry, I only have a few minutes, so I'm rushed through it. Blockchain itself, actually, in our book, we talk about blockchain and the metaverse is marriage in the heaven, right? So basically, blockchain itself has a confidentiality because of pseudo-anonymous. The recent technologies in multi-party computing, zero-knowledge proof, homomorphic encryption, right, can help actually more confidentiality of the metaverse. Integrity, of course, is guaranteed by blockchain consensus algorithms. Also, you have to sign your transaction before you can broadcast it, right? Availability itself is still an issue because availability is closely related to scalability. Recent interview with Vitalik with Epicenter, his main concern with Ethereum is also the availability in terms of data availability and also scalability. So we are still in early stage of this, right? Okay, that's good. We may be on time. Quantum is making the bigger progress in the industry. The real use of the quantum computing is based on its superposition property and entanglement. superposition property meaning that within the same qubit, right, you can represent many, like 2 raising power of n classical bits. So it means it can represent more information, process information much faster. If you're reading a book, like maybe you're reading fast, you're reading 1 line at a time, and with quantum computing, you can think it's reading 1 book at a time. So it's much faster, right? If it's compared with the classical computing. So it can break the current encryption. Like if you're using HTTPS, like lots of people using HTTPS for shopping, right? That can be break using quantum computing, right? So entanglement is really if you have 2 qubits, one if you observe it, another one is the opposite of it. So that's really for the communication mechanism. And people actually trying to harvest those HTTP transactions and put in the database. Those hackers, right? They trying to decrypt the data once the quantum computing become available. So that's meaning what? Meaning that even with the HTTPS, it's not secure, quantum secure. You need to make sure how you protect it, right? Using MPC actually is a good, like multi-party computing and a key rotation could be a potential solution. And majority of blockchain still using elliptic curve digital signature algorithm or ECDSA. That's not quantum safe, right? That's why you need using lattice-based encryption. And Amazon has a quantum ledger database, right? It's the idea people thinking maybe it's quantum resistant. It is not, because although it's AES 256, it's a synchronous or encryption, right? Symmetric encryption. This one is quantum resistant, but the data key it used to encrypt the encryption key is using the public key encryption. So that's not quantum resistant, right? So that's the caveat people need to know. OpenSSH using lattice-based encryption using NTRU, but NTRU already have some vulnerability. So the key point to take is quantum is a leapfrog or forward in terms of security and also computing, but there are still a lot of issues with that, right? That's why we need still a lot of research. So we're using AR, VR, right, XR. So basically, it's AR is augmented reality or mixed. It's using a mix of real object and virtual environment. So and eventually it's using the extended the reality, right? It's using the metaverse. Actually, it has a safety issue. Like when we talk about security, it's more like your code security, right? When we're talking about safety, it's physical security. It can harm you. So if actually the University of New Haven did some research, actually the hacker can basically control you physically, and you may go out of the bond. It's also trampling attack, right? You go over the physical bond, and you may bump into something, or you may fall on the cliff. So that's not good, right? That's what we need to be careful about that. There is some security measures we talk about, like you have to upgrade your firmware, right? And you have to set the physical boundary and awareness, right? So that's, if you're interested, we can talk more. But the last one is really the NFT security. NFT compared with DeFi, for now it's less complicated than DeFi. DeFi is much more complicated. But it is moving to more complexity, especially NFT with GameFi. It's associated with DeFi, right? It's more complicated. There is already the attack, like exchange attack, right? With OpenSea, some people was able to buy the NFT much lower the price than the targeted price, and also Cyberpunk smart contract has some mistake into it. So the seller, they sell their own tokens, they cannot receive the proceeds. The buyer receives the proceeds. Actually, in the smart contract, it has this kind of problem. And there's a denial of service attack with LooksRare, and even they can using the Web 2.0 attack. Look at the Discord and to try to trick you to buy worthless NFT, right? And also the IPFS risk. If you're using the what is called a path-based gateway, you have a problem, right? But if you're using the domain-based gateway, then you are okay. And of course, there is also the IP and risk. So in summary, yeah, it's very good. I'm timing very well. That's all I talk today. But if you are more interested, you can look more into the books. And some of this is free with Cloud Security Alliance. You can download freely, right? Some is a book in Amazon. You can purchase the digital version or even the audible version. It's you can listen to it, right? And also it has the printed version. That's all. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, Chair Huang, for your amazing presentation. Even though the time may have been very short, it was indeed full of great insights and information. We'll definitely check out your book as well. 네, 여러분, 켄 황 의장님께 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. 아주 좋은 강연 선보여 주셨습니다.